All right, let's take a look at this college student found in suitcase after pursuing creepy boyfriend. We
Hello, this
basically
is
got
Dr.
another
Bondo.
Karen, or not,
Today I will analyze the case of Jasmine
another
Pace. First, I'll look at the
Sarah
background of
Boone,
this case,
basically
move to
case,
the timeline of the crime, then offer my analysis.
or that one
Jasmine Pace was
incident with
born on May
right
29,
with the woman
2000,
who
and lived in
fucking
Chattanooga,
killed
Tennessee.
her,
Her
killed
mother's
their
name was Katrina, and her father's name was Travis.
uh
Eventually, Jasmine lived with
niece
her
and
mother and her
nephew and
stepfather
stuffed them
and
in a
worked in the office
fucking
of her family's
luggage
construction business.
wrapped, and they were
Also,
wrapped in a
Jasmine was
bunch
a
of
student at the University of Tennessee
blankets.
at Chattanooga. In early 2022, Jasmine met a man named Jason Chen on a dating app.
Oh,
He had been born on November 9, 2000, so he was about 6 months younger than Jasmine. He went to the same college as Jasmine, where he studied computer
oh.
science. The couple became
They were both
romantically
on a
involved
dating app and
and
went to the
dated
same
for a few
school.
months.
Easy.
After this, they lost touch, but then reconnected a few months later. They traveled to Chicago together in the summer of 2022. Jasmine had not told her family members about her relationship with Jason. Now moving to the timeline of the
Oh,
crime.
why?
On Saturday, November 26, 2022, at 7:10 p.m., Jasmine's mother, Katrina, called 911 and reported that her daughter was missing.
Uh-oh.
Here is what the police found during the course of their investigation. Using location data from Jasmine's 2021 Chevrolet Equinox, the police learned that her vehicle left her residence on Tuesday, November 22 at 11:27 p.m. It arrived at Jason's apartment building at 110 Tremont Street at 11:42 p.m. and the ignition turned off at 11:43 p.m. Jason lived in apartment 210. A few hours later, at 2:18 a.m., now on Wednesday, November 23, Jasmine shared her location with her mother using a pin drop. Jasmine was still at Jason's apartment building at this time. Later, Katrina received a message from Jasmine's phone indicating that Jasmine would be staying at a friend's house for the rest of the week.
Huh.
Katrina thought this was out of the ordinary
Odd, yeah.
because Thanksgiving was the next day. On Saturday,
Oh.
November 26, an image was posted to
Well,
Jasmine's
that
Facebook
makes it
page
even
with the
more
caption,
strange.
quote,
Thanksgiving
"Enjoy
next day.
Thanksgiving with my baby," unquote.
Oh,
Jasmine was wearing a revealing outfit, which was unusual for her. Also, there was no tattoo on her
wait,
shoulder,
so she did
which
this
meant that
all
the
and not
image
told her
was a few
parents
years
for
old.
some reason?
Family
That
members
she
and
didn't
friends
have, she
tried to
had a
contact
boyfriend?
Jasmine. A few messages were received back from Jasmine's phone, indicating that Jasmine wanted to be left alone. On Saturday, November 26, Katrina tracked her daughter's vehicle to Signal View Condominiums at 900 Mountain Creek Road in Chattanooga. She noticed that the seat of Jasmine's vehicle had been adjusted for someone who was taller than Jasmine. This is when Katrina called 911. After speaking to the police, Katrina went to Jason's apartment on Tremont Street, but nobody was home. Katrina and at least one other family member used a credit card to gain entry into Jason's apartment.
They broke in.
Inside, they found Jasmine's driver's license and credit cards. The police were once again contacted. They cautioned family members against entering Jason's apartment again and indicated that a detective would follow up. Late on Sunday, November 27, the police executed a search warrant on Jason's apartment. They noticed blood in multiple places,
Oh,
including on the hardwood floor in the living room, on the carpet in the master bedroom, and in the bathroom. Later, lab tests indicated the blood belonged to Jasmine.
Oh,
Investigators
fuck.
also
So
noticed
that was
cleaning
the
supplies on the
fucking,
couch
right, he
in the
murdered
living
her
room.
in the fucking,
It seemed pretty
in
obvious
that
that Jason
apartment.
had killed Jasmine, so the police started looking for him.
You
On
know.
Tuesday, November 29, 2022, the police found Jason at his parents' residence on Ashburn Court in Nolensville, Tennessee. This is 2 hours northwest of Chattanooga. They noticed that Jason had cuts on his right hand and on his feet. Data from his cell phone led the police to Suck Creek Road near the Tennessee River, not far from Chattanooga, where on December 1,
oh, shit.
2022,
And
they found a suitcase. Jasmine's 98-pound body was folded inside.
Jesus.
She had been stabbed 60 times in her back, neck, head, and arm.
Oh,
Most
my
of the
God.
stab wounds were on her right side. Jason was arrested and charged with
Fucking
murder.
60
The
times?
police were
My
able
goodness,
to
dude.
construct a timeline from several sources, including video surveillance, cell phone data, and witnesses.
Why did you
On
make her
November
into a
23,
fucking
2022,
pincushion, man? What
at
the fuck?
2:11 a.m., which is just over 2 hours after Jasmine arrived at Jason's apartment, a neighbor named Courtney heard a series of disturbing sounds. She was awakened by a female scream, then heard footsteps as if somebody was being chased from Jason's bedroom to the front door of his apartment. At this point, a female voice could be heard talking in a manner that was sad but assertive. The front door of Jason's apartment slammed. Then Courtney heard the sound of somebody walking. The police believe that Courtney heard Jason Chen killing Jasmine Pace.
Probably.
At 2:18 a.m., Jasmine's phone was used to send that pin drop to her mother, Katrina. Presumably, Jasmine is the one who sent this because she knew her life was in danger from Jason. At 2:31 a.m., the neighbor, Courtney, heard Jason turn on a TV in his bedroom. At 9:52 a.m., Jason went on the dating app Tinder and communicated with women. At 10:29 a.m., he exited his apartment building and drove his 2018 Toyota Camry to a Walmart store, arriving at 10:42 a.m. Jasmine's phone was with him, but he was alone in his vehicle. At Walmart, he purchased various items, including a 6-pack of paper towels. Jason returned to his apartment at 12:38 p.m. and left again at 1:36 p.m. This time he went to a Walgreens store where he purchased rubbing alcohol. After returning to his apartment, Jason left again at 2:56 p.m.
He was using paper towels and rubbing alcohol to clean everything? What the fuck?
At 4:03 p.m.,
What?
he sent a text message to Jasmine, which read, quote,
What?
"Hey, are we still good for dinner tonight?" unquote. Jason was trying to make it appear as though Jasmine was still alive. At 5:59 p.m., after returning to his apartment, Jason was captured on video pulling a suitcase on the sidewalk.
Oh,
The
shit.
suitcase contained Jasmine's body.
Yeah, he
He
fucking
drove to
stuffed her in
Suck
there.
Creek Road
And, yep,
and
Sarah
left the
Boone.
suitcase by the Tennessee River. After stopping at Walgreens again, Jason returned to his apartment. He did not emerge again until 8:26 p.m. At this point, he was wearing a surgical mask. Data from Jasmine's Chevrolet Equinox indicated that her vehicle started at 8:27 p.m., so just a minute later. It was then driven from 110 Tremont Street to 900 Mountain Creek Road, where it was ultimately found. Jason took a rideshare back to his apartment, arriving at 9:02 p.m. At 12:06 a.m., now on November 24, 2022, he communicated with his friends about playing video games. On January 13, 2025, Jason Chen went on trial for murder. His defense immediately conceded that Jason caused Jasmine's death by stabbing her 60 times, but claimed he was acting in self-defense. They argued that Jasmine attacked Jason with a wine bottle. This meant that Jason Chen was guilty of voluntary manslaughter, not of first-degree murder. On January 20, 2025, Jason Chen was found guilty of first-degree murder and abuse of a corpse. The jury started their deliberations at 4:12 p.m. and rendered their verdict just 44 minutes later at 4:56 p.m.
Oh, wow, that was quick.
It's not clear what they were doing for the last 43 minutes. On the next day, Jason Chen received a sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Sure.
Now moving
Oh
to
man,
my
they
analysis.
convicted him real quick
Jason
like that.
Chen
Jesus.
maintains his guilt.
I mean, I guess when you show
not guilt
him,
for
when you show
first-degree
the
murder.
right, when you
Rather,
show
his
the
defense
timeline
attorneys
of
argued that
events, and
Jason
you
is
show
guilty
him that he
of
was
voluntary
carrying the
manslaughter.
fucking suitcase and then
Here is
dumped
the
it there.
story put
Like,
forth
oh well,
by the defense.
yeah, he did it.
On the night of the killing, Jasmine went to
Just
retrieve wine
A
from the
motherfucker
kitchen
caught
and heard
right
alerts
red-handed.
coming from Jason's cell phone. She realized that these alerts were from the dating app Tinder. Jason had received messages from other women. As a result of making this discovery, Jasmine flew into a rage and attacked Jason with a wine bottle. During this attack, Jason blacked out. When he woke up, he realized that he had stabbed Jasmine to death. He then disposed of her body and made other efforts to escape responsibility.
Damn.
The state, of course, disagrees regarding Jason's guilt. They believe that he is guilty of first-degree murder. They argued that he premeditated the killing of Jasmine Pace. He may not have planned it for long, but he contemplated his actions for a sufficient amount of time to constitute premeditation. This brings me to the question, was Jason Chen guilty of first-degree murder? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that he was guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. There is no question that Jason stabbed Jasmine 60 times, causing her death. He then engaged in extensive efforts to escape responsibility. For example, cleaning his apartment, disposing of Jasmine's body, using her phone to impersonate her.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going all right, if you're doing all that and going out of your way to do that, yeah, yeah, that's like, I mean, that's premeditated to me, right? Right, that seems deliberately planned out because you fucking, right, you did the deed and now you are then taking steps to, right, try and hide the evidence. Yes. So, I mean, in a sense, that's kind of like what premeditation is, yeah?
People would believe she was still alive, posting on social media to create an alibi for himself, and wearing a face mask.
Right.
Something tells me that Jason probably was not too worried about getting COVID-19. As I mentioned, Jason's defense was based on the idea that Jasmine became angry after seeing Tinder messages and attacked him first. The problem with this theory is that Jason was not active on Tinder until a few hours after the killing. There would have been no messages for Jasmine to see. This supports the theory that Jason was lying. Jason's defense argued that he and Jasmine were drinking wine and smoking marijuana right before the killing, but there is no evidence to support that claim.
Yeah.
Even if Jasmine did attack Jason first, she was 5'2" and weighed 98 pounds. It's hard to imagine that she represented a serious threat to his safety.
Yep.
Why didn't Jason simply leave the apartment and call for help? Even if he was somehow justified in using lethal force, stabbing Jasmine 60 times was excessive and uncalled for. Moving to the exculpatory factors,
well, I mean,
there is no way to know exactly
even
what
stabbing her
happened
once
in
was
Jason's
fucking
apartment
uncalled for.
on the night when Jasmine was killed. In theory, it is possible that Jasmine was the aggressor. A wine bottle can certainly be used to seriously injure or kill a person. There is no evidence to support the theory that Jason planned the killing of Jasmine far in advance. That's pretty much it for the exculpatory factors. When considering all the evidence in this case, do I believe that Jason Chen was guilty of first-degree murder? Yes, in my opinion, he was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The big problem for Jason is how long the attack lasted. It started at 2:11 a.m., and Jasmine sent the pin drop at 2:18 a.m. This murder was not completed in 10 seconds or even in a minute. Rather, it lasted for several minutes. If premeditation did not exist when Jason stabbed Jasmine for the first time,
drop the
and
pin
it may not
where
have,
she was,
it
and then that's when
existed by the time.
That's probably when he
stabbed her
found. Hey,
for the
that's probably
60th
when he
time.
asked, "What are you doing?"
The extensive
and then,
effort to destroy the evidence also
her.
hurt Jason, even though that occurred after the fact. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Jason Chen was self-centered, impulsive, irresponsible, antagonistic, cold, callous, violent, overconfident, had a sense of entitlement, and was exceedingly creepy. A mental health clinician who evaluated Jason
I wouldn't say
determined
exceedingly
that
creepy,
he was
man.
not psychopathic or sociopathic. Jason did not have any mental health diagnosis at all, but he had experienced some symptoms of anxiety and depression in his life.
Oh.
One could argue that there were no clear red flags indicating that Jason would become a killer.
True.
Text messages between Jason and Jasmine indicated that Jason was losing interest in Jasmine, but she was becoming increasingly attracted to him. Jasmine valued the relationship more than Jason did.
Oh, she
On
was.
the night of the murder,
Oh, she was a
perhaps
clingy
they were
type.
arguing about
That's
the future
probably
of the
why.
relationship. Maybe Jasmine sensed that Jason was distant. There is no way to know what caused the disagreement. Regardless of what it was, Jason massively overreacted.
Correct.
In the heat of the moment, he stabbed Jasmine 60 times. His rage was unbelievably intense. During the attack, which lasted for several minutes, he decided to continue stabbing Jasmine. This is where the premeditation came in. Right away, Jason realized he was in trouble. He launched a campaign to escape responsibility, but he did not know what he was doing. He made all types of maneuvers with his cell phone and Jasmine's cell phone, like turning them on and off at different times,
Yeah.
sending messages as Jasmine,
Yeah, that's
and taking the
suspicious. Yeah.
SIM card
The dude
from
was
her phone and putting it in his phone.
he was trying
Jason
to
dumped
hide
Jasmine's body in a location by the Tennessee River,
his
which she allegedly
dealings.
had mentioned to him before as a place of beauty. So this is an area that Jasmine pointed out to Jason, saying that he should go there to look at the natural world. It was amazing. It was a scenic spot. If Jason did know about this location, maybe dumping the body there was symbolic, or it could have just been a coincidence. Jason cleaned his apartment in a desperate attempt to get rid of all the blood, but he was not successful. Eventually, he fled to his parents' residence because he knew he was doomed. Jason had just about no chance of winning at trial, but he was facing a first-degree murder charge, so he probably figured he had nothing to lose. Now moving to my final thoughts. One of Jasmine's family members indicated that Jasmine prevented other women from becoming victims. The implication here is that her death saved others, because Jason would have killed again if he was not arrested for Jasmine's murder.
Yeah.
Given the evidence in this case, I think this is a reasonable conclusion.
We would have had
Anyone who could
a
carry out this
runner,
type of
a
murder is
serial
extremely
killer running
dangerous
around.
and can never be trusted. Jason was like a ticking time bomb, just waiting for an unsuspecting victim to pick him up. Those are my thoughts on the case of Jasmine Pace. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.
Oh, Jesus. What's this? Holy shit, there's another Suitcase murder trial that's about to happen. I just looked this up. What the fuck? Against in New Zealand? A woman accused of murdering her 2 children and hiding their remains in suitcases being tried in New Zealand in a high-profile case that has shocked the country. What the fuck? Hak-Young Lee, who was extradited from she's South Korean to New Zealand in November 2022, has pleaded not guilty to 2 charges of murder. The remains of her children were discovered in suitcases by a family who had purchased the contents of an abandoned storage unit at an auction in Auckland. Oh, and found the bodies in the Jesus. The bodies were believed to have been stored there for several years. Oh my goodness, fucking hell. The trial opened on Monday and is expected to last up to 4 weeks. The prosecution will open arguments on Tuesday, according to local media. Given the public attention the case has received, the judge told the jury that Miss Lee's guilt or innocence must be determined based on facts. Justice Jeffrey Venning added that it's also likely that the case will be determined whether at the time the children were killed, Miss Lee was insane. Oh, she's gonna do pleading insanity. Miss Lee, 44, will represent her. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I was all like, huh? She's gonna self-represent her? No, but she has 2 lawyers, acting as standby counsel. She remained silent when asked to enter a plea on Monday. New Zealand national who was born in South Korea, Miss Lee lived in Auckland for several years before she returned to South Korea in 2018. That's probably because she fucking murdered her kids. That's why she returned to South Korea. The year before 2017, the children's father died of cancer, and the 2 children, aged 6 and 8, died sometime after that. Oh, Jesus. It does not know when exactly. Their bodies then discovered in August 2022 after a family bought a trailer load of goods, including the suitcases, in an online auction. Local media reported that the sale was part of an effort to clear abandoned items from a storage unit. Police said the buyers had no connections to the deaths. Miss Lee was arrested in Ulsan, South Korea in September 2022 after Interpol issued a global red notice for her. Holy hell, man. That is insane. Another case. There you have it. That is Dr. Todd Grand. If you want to give a like, subscribe. He does a lot of law analysis, right? So yeah. Yeah, the dude's a psychopath. Right, these people who do this kind of shit. Yeah, no, these people are not human. Right, these people are not human beings anymore. They're fucking monsters. Right, to do that kind of shit, people are deranged. They they deserve a padded room, right, for the rest of their life, or they deserve the what do the prisons call it? The hole or what the dark fucking right where there's no light and they just lock you in a fucking dark room. Yeah. And those people need that shit. Jesus. Fucking hell. Anyways, there you have it. If you give him a like, subscribe if you like his stuff. Cheers.